January 31st. 1000 B.C. It is usual to fix the finishing of the Temple of Hercules at Tyre on this day, and the death of Anchises, 183 years earlier. 1574. Birthday of Ben Jonson. 1578. Battle of Gemblours, in the Netherlands, by which the Spanish recovered their superiority in the Walloon provinces, which were zealously Catholic. 1606. Guido Fawkes executed. He was an officer in the Spanish service, concerned in the gunpowder plot, and discovered in the vault below the House of Lords, prepared to fire the train which was to involve the enemies of the Catholic religion in one common ruin. 1616. Jacob Le Maire, a Dutchman, discovered Cape Horn, the southern extremity of the American continent. 1686. In Norway, Courland and Pomerania, there fell a great quantity of a membraneous substance, friable, and blackish, somewhat like burnt paper. Baron Grotthus analyzed a portion of this substance, which has been preserved in a cabinet of natural history, and it is found to consist of silex, iron, lime, carbon, magnesia, a trace of chrome and sulphur, but not a particle of nickel. 1692. Massacre of Glencoe, Scotland. King William, whose chief virtue was not humanity, signed and countersigned the warrant, which was transmitted to the Secretary for Scotland, who particularly charged the ministers of destruction to take no prisoners. The population was barbarously massacred, and the spot disemboweled of every social appearance. 1718. Ashton Lever died at Manchester, England. He was a collector of specimens in natural history, and possessed one of the finest museums in the world. 1750. The Student, a paper of much merit, issued at Oxford, England, appeared this day. 1754. The first number of the Connoisseur appeared, conducted by Coleman, Bonnell Thornton, Chesterfield and others. 1775. Captain Cook discovered southern Thule, soon after Sandwich Land, which from the vast quantities of ice seen he conjectured might be a continent. 1737. The Attorney General stated to the Irish Parliament that an insurrection existed in the county of Kerry, the people having taken an oath to obey the laws of Captain Wright, a fictitious name, and to starve the clergy. 1788. Charles Stuart, the pretender to the throne of England, died at Rome. He was the grandson of James II, born at Rome 1720. In 1745 he landed in Scotland, with only 7 companions, and marched south gaining strength and carrying everything before him till he arrived within 100 miles of London. Was arrested, and the Battle of Culloden decided his fate. He wandered about the wilds of Scotland 5 months, often without food, and the price of £30,000 set upon his head. He finally escaped in a French vessel, and ended his days in dissipation. 1795. The Assembly of the States of Holland passed at The Hague the first public instrument in the shape of a Declaration of Rights. 1801. Sale of fine wheaten bread prohibited in London and that of brown substituted. 1813. Samuel M. Keehan, surgeon's mate in the Ohio militia, ordered by General Harrison, with a flag of truce, and money for supplies, for the wounded prisoners. Taken January 22d, put up for the night in a cave at the foot of the Miami, leaving his horse and cabriolet at the entrance, and the flag stuck up. A party of Indians fired on them, wounded the doctor in the foot, killed and scalped his companion, Mr. Lamont, and stripped him. They took the money, horse, blankets, etc., and compelled the doctor to travel 20 miles that night on foot. 1826. François d'Étienne Lantier, a dramatic writer of no small celebrity in France, died at Marseille. 1828. Alexander Ypsilanti, a Greek patriot, died at Vienna, aged 36. He attempted the liberty of his country, but was discountenanced by the emperors of Russia and Austria, and imprisoned by the latter 7 years. His early death is attributed to his incarceration. 1833. Odo, Prince of Bavaria, arrived at Napoli di Romania as the first king of restored Greece, at which time he had not attained his 18th year. 1838. Osceola, the celebrated Seminole chief, died at Charleston, South Carolina, aged 35. From a vagabond child he became the master spirit of a long and desperate war. He was a subtle and sagacious savage, who established gradually and surely a resistless ascendancy over his adopted tribe, by the daring of his deeds, the constancy of his hostility to the whites, and the profound craft of his policy. 1839. James Biles died at Oyster Bay, New York, aged 118. He was a native of France, came to this country while a boy, was a soldier under Wolfe, and in the Battle of Quebec. 1843. Was living at Caracas, South America, Maria de la Cruz Carvalho, aged 144. Her hair, which had been white with age, returned to black at the age of 133, and her sight, which was entirely lost at the age of 118, returned, at the age of 138, so that she could thread a needle. 1854. The railroad track at Erie, Pennsylvania, torn up the second time by a mob. 1855. The Western railroads blocked with snow, and travel almost wholly obstructed for several days. No communication was had between St. Louis and Chicago. For 11 days, 17 locomotives were frozen in or buried by the snow on the Chicago and Mississippi Railroad.